You don't notice it at first. It's not a dramatic moment. It's something small. A quiet morning, a phone that stays still, a thought you reach for, then realize there's nowhere to send it. The world feels exactly the same, but something essential is missing. You move through your day, responding, functioning, answering questions. Yet part of you feels like it's still waiting for something that will never arrive. Sometimes the pain isn't sharp. It's dull, heavy, almost silent. And that's what confuses you the most. You expect grief to scream. Instead, it whispers. You catch yourself thinking, this shouldn't still feel this strange. But it does. Because when you lose the person you loved most, you don't just lose someone, you lose the version of life that made sense with them in it. And you feel it in moments no one else can see. Psychologically, losing the person you loved most isn't only about absence. It's about disorientation. That person wasn't just part of your life. They were part of how your mind organized the world. Decisions felt lighter because they existed. Plans felt real because you imagined them there. Even your sense of self was shaped around being known by them. So when they're gone, it isn't just grief that arrives. It's confusion. You wake up and still follow routines that no longer have a destination. You think about the future and feel a blank space where certainty used to live. And from the outside, you may look fine. You still show up. You still talk. You still smile at the right moments. But internally, something feels misaligned because the mind doesn't just grieve people. It grieves shared meaning. It grieves the invisible structure that held your identity together. This is why loss feels so destabilizing, not because you're unable to cope, but because the map you were using no longer works. You're not just missing them, you're missing who you were when loving them felt possible. And psychology suggests that this kind of loss doesn't break people. It temporarily removes the framework that once made life feel coherent. That confusion isn't weakness, it's adjustment, even if no one ever taught you how to do it.
This is where things get complicated, because after a while, the world expects something from you, to recover, to move forward, to sound normal again. And maybe you try. You laugh at a joke and feel guilty for a second. You enjoy a moment and wonder if it means you're forgetting them. You function and question whether you're honoring what was lost. One of the hardest parts of losing the person you loved most is realizing that no one else misses them the way you do. Others lost someone. You lost your someone. So you begin to carry it quietly. You stop explaining. You shorten your answers. You learn how to say, "I'm okay," without meaning it. And slowly, another tension appears. You start to wonder who you are now. Not dramatically, not all at once. Just in subtle ways. You hesitate before trusting again. You hold back parts of yourself that once flowed freely. You fear that loving deeply again might erase what once mattered most. At the same time, being alone with the memory hurts too much. So you exist in between holding on and letting go, between remembering and protecting yourself, between wanting connection and fearing the cost of it. Sometimes the pain comes in waves. Other times it disappears entirely, and that scares you even more, because numbness feels like betrayal. But psychology doesn't see these reactions as flaws. They are attempts to survive emotional overload. Your mind isn't confused because it's failing. It's confused because it's trying to adapt to a reality it never rehearsed for. Here's the truth most people never hear. This loss hurts this deeply, not because you're weak, but because love changed you. Real attachment rewires how the mind experiences safety, meaning, and self. You didn't just care about them, you integrated them. So when they left, something inside you didn't disappear. It stayed active with nowhere to go. That pain you feel isn't only absence, it's presence. The presence of who you became while loving them, the patience you learned, the softness you allowed, the version of yourself that felt fully seen. Losing them didn't erase that person you were. It revealed them. And that's why grief feels so personal,
Because it's not only about what ended, it's about what was awakened and now has no clear place to land. Psychology doesn't frame this as damage. It frames it as evidence. Evidence that you bonded deeply. Evidence that you opened yourself to something real. The pain is not proof that something went wrong. It's proof that something mattered. And that realization changes everything. You don't go back to who you were before them. And that's not a failure. You carry forward what loving them unlocked in you, even if it feels heavy right now. Love doesn't end when someone leaves your life. It changes form. It becomes memory. It becomes values. It becomes the way you now understand depth. You're not behind. You're not stuck. You're carrying something meaningful through a world that doesn't always recognize it. And maybe that's why this experience feels so lonely. Because society knows how to measure success, but it doesn't know how to measure emotional depth. So if you feel quieter now, more selective, more reflective, that isn't loss alone. It's transformation. You don't owe anyone proof that you're healing. You don't need to rush toward closure. The fact that you loved deeply once means the capacity still exists, even if it rests for now. You are not broken. You are integrating something real. And that takes time. If this felt like it put words to something you've been carrying quietly, you're not alone in that experience. This space exists for people who feel deeply and live thoughtfully. You don't have to comment or explain anything, but if staying until the end mattered to you, you already belong here.